Alright guys, welcome to today's video, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to prep, primer, and paint your entire engine. So let's get into today's video. Alright guys, so first things first, we got to get this thing clean. So I'm going to use some purple blaster degreaser and pretty much just spray it everywhere that we're going to be applying the primer and applying the paint. And at this time I've already taped off my intake ports on my cylinder head, and I've already taped off the exhaust ports as well. So you spray it pretty much everywhere you need it to go and everywhere that you're going to be using the primer or the paint. And also, while that degreaser is setting, you can use some sandpaper and just gently rub the block or rub the head. You don't want to use something too abrasive or something that's going to scratch too much, but just to get in those crevices and clean out that block and that head really good. Now I'm using a piece of Scotch-Brite and just gently scrubbing the head and the block, trying to get out as much of that oil and grime that builds up on your motor over time. Now we're going to be rinsing off the motor, the block, the head, and you want to make sure get off all of that degreaser, get off all of that grime that's on the motor, because if you don't get it off, it will mess up the finish on your primer and it will mess up the finish on your paint or clear coat. So you want to make sure wash all of that off. Be very thorough in this process and you should get good results in the end. Now you want to take yourself a shop cloth or a very clean rag, and you want to get all of that remaining water or grime or dirt off of the motor. Like I said, this is super important in getting a very nice finish on your primer, on your paint, and on your clear coat. Alrighty, now for the fun part, we're going to be using some flame proof primer, and you guys don't need to use this. It's just that's all I could find in the store at the time. You can use any primer that's good for 500 degrees and up. You want to shake your can extremely well, then you can start applying it going from left to right. I'm using a piece of cardboard just to deflect the paint from going on any of my timing gears, but you guys can use masking tape and mask everything off, so you guys don't have to use a piece of cardboard. But yes, continue sweeping back and forth, spraying I think 2 inches away from your surfaces, and you should get a very nice finish just like this one. And there you have it. That's the head, that's the block fully primed, and as you can see, I've taped off those cylinder heads. Alright, so on my block I'm going to be using some high temp gloss black paint. So you want to shake your can extremely well, and then you want to apply the paint sweeping from left to right, and you just want to make sure you get good coverage when you're doing this. You want to completely turn that block whatever color you want on your first layer. You don't have to get it extremely well, because I did put a second layer of black on before I actually use my clear coat. So you just want to make sure that you're turning the block whatever color that you're going to be using. In my case, it's going to be black, so I'm going to fully turn my block black, let it dry, and then apply a second coat of black. And then after that, I applied my coat of clear coat to save it and to make the paint just last a lot longer. You guys can skip the process of using the engine clear coat, but I just used it because I wanted my own to last longer. This gloss black does come with its own clear, and it will have a very glossy finish even without the added high temp engine clear coat. In my case, I actually used a different color for my cylinder heads and the top of the center of the intake. And what I did was I used what they call the cast aluminum paint. It's just pretty much paint that makes anything look like it's aluminum. My motor is all aluminum, but I wanted it to look even better than it already did. So you spray it on the same way you spray on any other type of paint, left or right, in very like light coats, and then you make sure you get full coverage by the time as you're finished painting. And this is pretty much the step that I said you guys can skip if you guys are using glossy high temp paint. This is the clear coat, and pretty much you just spray it on any of the surfaces that you have already spray painted, and this will give it and much better glossy finish. But be very careful with this. If you spray it too close or hold the spray button down too long, you can actually leave a white residue on your surface and it just will look bad. So you want to be very careful with this. And this clear coat here, this high temp clear coat, will add more life to your paint job, so it is a good thing to use. Alright, now that the block and the head is done, it's the exact same process for any other engine parts that you guys want to paint. You make sure to degrease it, get all of that old oil off. You sand it down, use some Scotch-Brite, make sure it's nice and clean. You wash it off, you put your primer on, you put your top coat on, which would be whatever paint or whatever color you wanted. You put the top, a second coat of paint on it, and the clear coat is optional depending on the finish or the look that you're going for. So I'm going to time lapse the entire process and then I'm going to show you guys the end result. Alright guys, and it's really just that simple. Just a few steps and you can get a professional product just like we have right here behind me on my Ford motor. And make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, hit a like button if this video is helpful to you guys. And always remember, don't drift without your dreams. I'll catch you guys on the next one.